Good morning! I hope you guys are having another splendid morning. And today we are going to talk about good old Dragon Ball. And I think if you guys are familiar with me enough, you might already know the story. But basically as a kid, I, liked Dragon Ball, and then as time went on, I kind of grew out of it. I played a couple of the Dragon Ball games that kind of drifted out though. And then at one point in my life, I went and looked back on all of my old VHS tapes. This is when I got into film, and this is also when I got into Dragon Ball. And I'm gonna make this video is only like a brainchild in my head, but I'm going to make during like this big Dragon Ball month-long project thing that I've been scheming up, which might not be out for a while, so don't hold your breath. I'm gonna make a video where I just go over my entire collection, go through the history, and kind of talk about everything. But the final end notes for the story is after this hunt for VHS tapes, I ended up just seeing a DVD for season 1 in Walmart, and then I just ended up buying all the seasons, working my ass off to get that money, and saving up for all the seasons. Good times. But today I wanted to specifically talk about this, one of the first things I ever wanted to collect for, one of the first like big art passions I ever had, and that was to collect all the VHS tapes for Dragon Ball. And the specific VHS tapes I already had were for mostly, and I'm sure this is gonna alienate everyone that's not a Dragon Ball fan. I'm sure you probably haven't even made it through this far in the video. If you aren't, it's okay. It's okay. We're not all Dragon Ball fans. It's okay. But anyway, yeah, so I wanted to get all the VHS tapes, and if you lined up the VHS tapes, they basically made like artwork. It was a very cool collector scheme, and each like picture was from like a different saga. So like the Captain Ginyu saga would have a certain photo, and then like the Android saga, they would all be different sets. And I had a lot of like the Buu saga stuff. I had so for people who are familiar with the Buu saga, the episodes where Gotenks is fighting Super Buu, Gohan, the episode where Gotenks gets absorbed, I had all of that. The hyperbolic time chamber fight between Buu and Gotenks, I watched that fight a lot. I had Garlic Jr. episodes, like the beginning of the Garlic Jr. saga. I remember I had a VHS tapes from my neighbor, which was during like the Cell saga, which I didn't see any of the Cell saga, so I put in that VHS tape kind of like in like a weird like oh my god like new Dragon Ball, like I had no idea what I was about to get into, and it was mostly just 17 and Piccolo when they fought. It was just that fight, and it was just them fighting for the entire VHS tape, which wasn't a disappointment, but I was kind of just like, oh well, okay. So I didn't see any of the Saiyan saga and Frieza saga until after till I got the DVD sets, which I did watch it on TV as a kid, but it was so sporadic and so all over the place that I don't remember much of it. But the I do remember we also had the VHS tape for a Dragon Ball GT, like the beginning of Dragon Ball GT, where it was like the big opening couple episodes, and then they skipped, at least in the English version, they skipped right to like the General Rildo planet, the robot planet, which was like the beginning of the Baby saga. They skipped a bunch of shit because they knew people weren't gonna dig it. That's how bad Dragon Ball GT is. That the first dozen episodes aren't even worth watching, because for obvious reasons. That's a review for another day though. But the Dragon Ball VHS tapes, I remember being like one of my like biggest desires. And it's weird like how like easy it is to fulfill something, and then you just keep going on about your time. But as a kid, I don't think Like, if I had like 10 wishes, I probably wouldn't waste it. I probably know that I could just buy it with money. But if I could have like physical things, I would want all of Dragon Ball. Like, that would have been up there. And I have that now. I can turn on Dragon Ball Z whenever I want. And it's kind of sad that anyone can do that nowadays, because that's the power of the goddamn internet. We're just swimming in content nowadays. But that's not what I had back then. And I was determined to watch, and I did that. I did watch all of Dragon Ball. But I was determined to watch and collect all of Dragon Ball. And I did that, actually. Like, the seasons, I'll, like, in my other video I'm gonna do, I'll go into detail, but I collected every single season, and I worked my ass off to get that money for those DVD box sets. And people shit on Orange Bricks, but that's what I collected, and it was such a good memory. But anyway, those VHS tapes, man, those were like crack to me. I put in those things at least like a dozen or two times. And we haven't even talked about the movies. The two movies I remember the most are the Lord Slug movie and the Cooler's Revenge movie. And I've seen Cooler's Revenge at least 20 to 30, 40, 50 times. I love that movie to death. It's one of my favorite Dragon Ball movies. And sure, I watched the other ones on DVD. But those two specific ones, those were the ones. And I had to watch on VHS. And the VHS ones, they had the American soundtrack. They had the rock music in the background. Like, I don't think I can watch Cooler's Revenge without that music. Like, it's integral. It's integral to my experience with Dragon Ball. And like, even like the other movies like that weren't on VHS, like the Broly movie. Like, how can I not listen to rock music as I watch Broly just beat up everyone? Like, that's how I experienced that. And I feel like if I were to watch it subbed with the original music, it's like, it's kind of a different product, as amazing as the plot and animation is. But I don't know. But yeah, that was my little rant, my little story about these Dragon Ball VHS tapes. And I really want to know other people, like, if they had them as a kid, like if they had any similar experiences. Experiences. Okay, god damn it. I'm not gonna edit that out. Anyway, yeah, this was a very weird episode of Good Morning Soul, but you know, nothing wrong with getting a little bit weird. Nothing wrong with geeking about Dragon Ball for 10 minutes. But anyway, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning with another episode of Good Morning Soul. And until then, with that, I leave you.